So welcome to what might be the fifth or fourth developer log for Rifter. Today I'm just going to be looking at some photo editing, I guess. I do some prop modeling in this one. I've cut a few things together and I've sped it up to double the speed. This one's about 33 minutes long. So here what I'm doing is I'm creating banners or like propaganda posters for Brimstone, which is the city's name in which you are placed into in the beginning of the game. And in the original game design document I did for Rifter, Brimstone just shone out as a cool name. I googled it to see if there was any like other city names called Brimstone, but there was only a game called Brimstone. Because I have this very strange obsession to not allowing myself to use a name of something if it's already been used elsewhere in other games. So that's a big thing I definitely have a problem with. I can't use it, even if it's not copyrighted. I just still can't use it. It took me a while to actually accept Brimstone as the city's name, but it sounds so cool. At least to me it does. And in the beginning you'll see I did like Cragstone and Crag Creek Valley and all these different names, and they just didn't sound very industrial. Brimstone sounds very industrial, and you can imagine it being a place of sort of industrial machines and sort of factories. But I've sped this up, as I said, because there's so much content in this one. I've got not only Brimstone Transporters, which is a banner for the airships that take you around the city. It's just it's just a poster to look cool. It's just an idea I played around with, and I put a globe in the middle of this one. You'll notice I'm using Paint.net, which is not exactly the most professional piece of software, and I actually upgrade to Photoshop. Halfway through the video, I just say, okay, well, I think I need Photoshop's expertise to manage to do this. The only reason I'm using Paint.net in this one is because at the time, the Photoshop one and the Paint.net one are two completely different days. Like on one day I was using Paint.net and the other I was using Photoshop. So I'm experimenting with different textures here and changing the color around. I use, as I said before in a previous developer log, I use something called GameTextures.com a while back, and I downloaded like over 400 textures onto my external hard drive, and that's what I use as like my kind of texture pool. I know a lot of people use CG textures, but these textures to me are more high quality, and you can just get them on whim, and especially if you pay for them, what you pay is what you get. And they're not exactly, they don't have to be completely photoreal. Like some of them are stylized, some of them are stylized. You know, if you want a cartoony game, there's some of those textures. But that's irrelevant. What I'm using is a plaster texture for like kind of a billboard. It actually looks really good as a final thing. I experiment with different colors for Brimstone Transporters. I think I use like a gold texture in the end, or an orange actually. I think I use. And then I put like a globe in the middle, and I do some Photoshop work, some overlaying to it. And it looks pretty damn cool. Because it's like saying Brimstone Transporters travel the world today. What it actually means is Brimstone Transporters travel Brimstone today. It's like propaganda. There's quite a few of these like posters or billboards. There's also like only posters. You know, they're not billboards. I think I make 3 billboards and 1 poster. And I've actually got a wanted poster, which I'm experimenting with, which a friend helped me put together. I took a picture of him, and he's actually a wanted person, because I thought having wanted posters in Brimstone would be pretty cool. And it would be fun to experiment with. So I'm just using text tool here. It's very, very basic, just to put together something that looks pretty interesting. I follow this text. I keep this font all the way through. Like it's the only font I've used for Rifter, and I think it just looks so good. I used a few others in previous versions, but they just didn't look very good. I used something that was a bit more extravagant and a bit more blingy, I guess. Excuse me. But this text gets used everywhere. Like all the posters, all the billboards have it. It's a kind of a watermark, I guess you could say, of Rifter, of the game. Like a lot of games use the same text. In fact, all games do. For different things. The same font style. So on top of doing the developer logs, on the side I've got my game design document, which is pretty much everything you could ever want to know about Rifter in a document. Reason I've done this is because I was given one for college. I was actually given one, and I don't want to use it because I think that's a bit too linear. So I've made my own. It's a similar kind of style, and it's basically just got a table of contents, and it shows all of the content for Rifter. All the summary. It's got the summary. It's got the concept. It's got the characters. It's got everything. So here we're back in the prop scene. Now I don't think anyone's seen this quite yet. This shows so far how many props I've got. I've got more than that in the newer ones. But as you can see there, just to get a glimpse of how many props I'm working with, I'm making a billboard now. And I'm using the same textures, of course. And I can't quite remember what the texture numbers are, because I've got about 40 textures in that scene for all the different props. A lot of people are probably going to ask, why am I using one whole scene and not separate scenes for each prop? That's actually a really inefficient way of doing it, in my opinion, because you've just got to worry about all these different scenes. Just make one whole scene and model all your props in that scene. Bit of advice, I guess, from me. It's logical to do it that way as well. It's just more efficient and a better way forward. So there you go, you got the billboard. It looks pretty cool. And I start making other ones. Start looking at Foreman's cigars. It's Fordman's cigars, but it turns out to be Foreman's because I had a suggestion from my brother. Actually came in and said it should be Foreman's. And I'm also doing the Brimstone Guard. Now this one gets sort of retired. Brimstone Guard. I don't like doing it in the end. And later on, more recently, I did it in college. I did Brimstone Guard as a poster instead of a billboard. I just couldn't quite conceptualize what I wanted for it. And for me, that was a big problem. Brimstone Guard is obviously the kind of militia or guards that protect the city. And Brimstone Guard is... There's posters, propaganda posters, like, join today, you won't get killed in horrific death, you know. Things like that. I got sign up for Brimstone Guard. But in the newer one, it's Brimstone Guard join today. And it's got like a... Oh, what's it got? It's got a logo in the middle. Oh, it's got a circle. Like a circle with like a bevel to it. And it's got like a painted symbol and it says guard in the middle, but that looks pretty cool. And in this one it just looks awful, and in the end I decided to go for let's see, Brimstone Militia. Just experimenting with ideas here, to be honest. There's not really any sort of set idea initially for this, which is why I do these developer logs, to kind of show all my development and not just one or two little pieces. I've shown everything so far. There's, I think, 10 videos altogether, and this is like the 5th one. But back to the game design document. It's quite a lengthy thing. I haven't even finished it yet. It's got a lot of content. It's got the characters, the levels, the main menu, what that's going to look like. It's got the high concept, the summary, I was going to do target audience, but it's not necessary for this given project because I don't actually need to really worry about what it's going to look like if what the target audience is going to be if I'm not really going to be selling the game. Now, it would be, I guess, a more professional way of going about it, and thinking about it now, I might add it on there to see if I get a higher grade for my overall final project. But I'm not sure. I'll see what I can do. We're coming up to the second clip here, which I jump over to Photoshop on. And if you watch the date at the bottom, I think it changes. Bottom right of my screen, the date changes, and that's because I use a different software on a different day. And here I'm using a pretty cool texture, which I might go back to for banners, because it looks awesome. It's like a kind of festival overhanging banner of sorts, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't even use this in the end. I make my own, which looks a lot better. And I experiment with all sorts of tools and things. I think my favourite banner or poster has got to be, it's got to be Foreman's Cigars, because it just looks so cool. It looks like a cigarette packet or cigar packet. And here I'm just duplicating the billboard mesh, and then I replace the face texture with something else. And you'll see I switch over now. Boom. And it's still the same date. Is that the same date? But it's like 4 hours later. Because I just decide Photoshop's better, I'll use that. It's Fordman's Cigars initially, but then as I said earlier, it changes. I'm just using a few tools here to kind of create like an arching text. I don't know, I just liked experimenting with the banners and the billboards in this particular project, because I've got this obsession with them. I think they add a new layer of detail to an environment. If there's like advertising, that's just cool. You know, if I play a game and I see like a billboard that says like, oh, go to the alchemy store here or whatever to get your concoction of death or doom. I just like that kind of style, like this whole, it's a real believable environment. It's believable, it's got a believability to it, and it's actually there and it feels real. And I really want to try and push that kind of feeling with Rifter. That's what I want as I don't even really care much what it amounts to in terms of what other people think. I just want to get a learning experience out of it, and I think that doing all these different aspects of this game, you know, the Photoshop work, you know, I do texture editing, I do 3D modeling, an absolute ton of it, and I'm still modeling. I've got like dozens of hours, just hours of it. It's a learning experience for me, and if it does get noticed, well then great. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be too upset about it, because it's my final major project. It's for college. It's not for to be pitched to a game company to sell it to them. Which I would love that for to happen, to someone to come in and be like, oh, your skills are amazing, we're going to buy the source code of your game. But I'm not reliant on other people, and I think that if I do that, then it's a bad idea. So check the time quickly. Oh, crikey. It's getting quite late. I've been recording these videos for so long. Now I'm in the holidays, Easter holidays, and I'm just doing all this work. I'm experimenting with color scheme here, which is also in the game design document. I show some of this in the game design document. In fact, I will show some of this. No, I have done. I'm talking present tense here. I'm talking in the present. It's a good idea to experiment with different colors, and I do that quite a lot. Like this Foreman Cigars changed to Foreman's, and it goes from red to blue, I think, and the Brimstone Transporters had a few different color schemes. I like these brown colors, brown and red and orange and like yellows seem to be the steampunk feel. And if there's any blues, it kind of offsets it. Any blue colours, like blue sky or aquamarine. Aquamarine's quite a modern futuristic colour, I feel, whereas old like brown rust is a more steampunk neopunk. And it seems like a good colour scheme, I think, and I'll add that down in the game design document. I've actually come up with a name for the main character, which initially I wasn't going to do. I've changed my idea so many times. I've gone from wanting to make a whole city that you can explore, to a small area, to a bar scene. And now, I'm just going ape with it. I'm saying, I've got plenty of time, I can make a whole city, I think. Sounds ambitious, but for me, that's actually what it's all about, you know, making games. It's ambitious. You don't want to go low, or even medium, or even high. You want to go very high. You want to aim for the highest. People say, oh, you're not going to be able to do it in time. I'm going to do it in time. I think that's a bit of advice from me, is always aim higher than you can go. Because that's how you learn. You fail, and then you learn from what you fail at. But I'm not going to fail. I reckon I'll do pretty well. I've already got so much done, and so it'd be a waste to just do like a bar scene. Like what I was initially going to do is have a small area of the city to explore, tiny little bit. You come off the airship at the beginning of the game, and then you go on into a bar, and it's a really detailed scene. But I don't want to do like a lackluster exterior, because I really love level design and creating realistic environments. That's my passion, I'd say, with games. See, I'm experimenting where to put these like circles, I guess. I don't know, it just adds a simplicity to the whole thing. I do mess around with it a little bit, and I actually go back to the previous design. And there you go with the propaganda. Fordman cigars, the healthiest cigars in Brimstone. It's so it's ironic and it's a lie, because cigars, you know, you don't want to be taking in ash. It's bad for you. I think if I was to if I was to cough, no, if I was to change anything about Rifter as it stands at the moment, it would be probably the architectural style a little bit, just a little bit, and the textures I'm using for the buildings don't seem to fit, but I think when I put them in game they will, if I combine all these things together. But more importantly, back to the whole character. I've actually come up with a name for the main character, which I didn't have. His name is Lysander Reach, and Lysander Reach is a bounty hunter. As some of you may know, he's a bounty hunter, freelancer type guy, and he'll take about any job you give him. And I'm using filter effects here. So professional of me to use filter effects. I don't even think I use it in the end. I just keep the same style, sort of plain painted look. Or sort of ink blotch look. But yeah, back to the character. You got Ganus. Ganus is the antagonist, and Lysander Reach is the protagonist. So you got the antagonist and the protagonist. Obviously, the antagonist's job is to bring down the protagonist, who is the good guy, or the main character, we should say. Who you play as. You play as Lysander Reach. Lysander Reach is, you know, a pretty cool name. I was experimenting with the names, and I had some boring names like Frank. I wanted something simple and steampunky, but like kind of extravagant and kind of Victorian. And I thought Lysander. I said it, and I was like, that suits him a treat. Lysander Reach. He's the man of the hour. Like in games like all games, you have a main character, a main lead, be it male or female. It's usually male, which is bad, really. But you know, that's neither here nor there. You've got like Booker DeWitt from BioShock. You've got Corvo Antano from Dishonored. You've got what's his name? You've got Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. There's so many. There's Ellie from The Last of Us, and I can't remember the bloke's name. That's probably a good thing, really, because I thought the female role you play as in The Last of Us, the game The Last of Us, was really powerful. I think that was very clever how they did that. Because you play as a little girl, and she like grows up. I can't remember his name. The guy in The Last of Us, his male lead role was another example. But you've got all these lead roles, and I want a really strong one. You know, a good guy who has got a good backstory, he's got depth, you know. And I'm aiming ambitious here, because if I aim the highest, and I get one below that, I'll be happy. But if I aim middle and I get something, I'll be like, well, yeah, I knew I was going to get that. I want to be a show-off. I want to show what I can do, you know? That's how you sell yourself, I guess. Sell my soul to the devil and become a really good game designer. That's what I've done. I've sold my soul. I think now I work on some other ones. I can't remember. I did Fordman Cigars, which is what you saw. I think I'll go back to Brimstone Guardsy. There is another one though I did. I can't remember what it was. Oh crikey, it's coming back to me now. It's like Madame Panada's Alchemy or something like that. It's not that, because that's a name from another game, but I do something with this and I can't remember what it is. It's been such a while since I've done all these billboards. The latest ones are the ones that are stuck in my head are the Brimstone Transporters and Foreman Cigars. Oh, it's Damas & Co. Damas & Co. is the weaponry. Damas & Co. is weapons. Professor Damas, but in the end it's just Damas & Co. Damas is high quality weaponry, and I do like a weird pentagon shape in the middle. I like this kind of simplicity to things, but there was also a very complex side to Rifter, which is obviously the story and the narrative. You know, that's got very strong backstory. I'm very passionate about it, which is good. And try and experiment with some weird, like, delusion. That's actually what I use in the end. For certain, that is what I use. And then I put like a yellow box over it, and there's like in the middle there's the pistol that I modelled. It's called the Bulldozer 58, I think, the gun. Which some of my development for that is on my blogger, which is Rifter Indie. Is it Rifter Indie? It's Rifter Indie at blogspot.com, and that will show you some of my development before I decided to do these developer logs, because I really didn't want to have to sit and capture every single frame of what I was doing. So I'm just gonna sit and I'm gonna record 100 hours of me making a game. I'm just messing around there. I get really frustrated with the program. And there's the shape. It's a hexagon actually, not a pentagon. It is a pentagon. I'm lying. 5 sides. I don't know maths or shapes anymore. I always thought it was a hexagon for Damas & Co. Maybe I'm wrong. I put the gun in the middle. I go into my chosen modelling program, Maya, and I modelled a gun previously, and I kind of took a screenshot of it, brought it into Photoshop, and kind of overlaid it, and it looked so cool. You'll see in a minute, towards the end of the video, which is only 7 minutes away, or 9 or 10. It's about 9 minutes. So Damas & Co. Is like weapons, and I get the pistol from Maya, and because I can't draw, I experiment, and it actually looks better than maybe someone who could draw. You know, in some cases, I've got I model, I take a screenshot of it, and then I crop that out, overlay it onto my original design, and it looks awesome. See, high quality weaponry for Damas & Co. I do believe the colour scheme changes a little bit. which I'll note down in the game design document. I've got to do so much on that. I don't have to, but I'm going to. See, for me, the whole experience of making a game, I really couldn't care less about if I get a job or if I can make money. It's just so fun, you know. I think there's too many people in the industry that just want money, but that's just any industry. And I'm adding like an outline to this. This text, and then I add the gun in the middle, which you'll see now. I go into Maya. But yeah, like, there's too many people in the industry who just want to make money. Now I want to make money, but that's like my second priority. I'm still really young. I could take a gap year and then go to university, or I could get a part-time job, make some money, and fund a game and put it on Kickstarter or something, or sell it. This is the gun. Really cool looking gun. I know it's not much. I was experimenting with my gun modeling skills. But yeah, I'm in this kind of career, and I want to do it because I want to change the industry. I want to make a mark. I want to say, look, this is what I can do. I'm excited about what you guys can do, but look what I can do. You know, here's what I can do. Do you want to join in with me and make games? So I do have a very strong passion for making games, and I think that's actually why I'm gonna keep doing it. It's not because I want to make money. I can't stand people like that who just want to make money out of it. It's stupid. It's not a good way of doing things. And I end up using the quick selection tool here to kind of outline the pistol. It looks pretty cool in the end. It does look pretty cool. That's actually the gun I've imported into the game, into Unity, and I've actually used it. It fires, but I'm not going to use it anymore because obviously it's on the banner, and that would be a bit strange if you looked down at your hand and you had a gun that was on the banner. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe I should follow up on that and experiment and ask people what they think. Do they think I should use that gun as the gun that the protagonist uses, or should I make my own separate gun? I'm going to go through a few stages of making different guns, I think. Because in the initial game, on the airship, you don't have a weapon. And you have to go and find your weapons, because on the airship you're not permitted to have weaponry. I'll go back to the characters. I'll talk about that for a bit, actually. So your employer gives you this job. Your employer is called Dorian Sprocket. I know, very fancy name. I've got all this in the game design document, but he gives Lysander a job, and of course he doesn't give him the information. And he says you can't have your weapons on board, so you either have to go and buy them, I'm thinking, or you find them in like a dead drop. Your employer says, here are your weapons, you know, to eliminate the target, and the target is of course Ganas, and Ganas is the antagonist. It's all very in depth. I've always figured this. I've figured this all out. I'm crazy, I know, but it's there. It's an idea. I'm really looking forward to putting this all together, though. So I've got a ton of assets, and I've got a Unity scene that's relatively, you know, there in terms of what it looks like. I do believe here I'm trying to make a notice board, just to go anywhere in the city, just everywhere. You know, there's notice boards here and there, and I delete it in the end because I don't like it. And I put like a little lamp on it, and I just don't like it. I just don't think it looks very good. So this is just some of my development. You know, not everything I do is going into the game, which is what I kind of like. And I think that shows my understanding in a way, because I'm like, when I look at it and I say, that looks awful, I'm going to delete it and start again, or I'm not going to use it at all. I think a good game developer can tell himself his work is crap, it's rubbish, and just delete it and start again. I think that's a good skill to have. If you're too obsessed with your own work, then when someone tells you that's not good, you get upset about it. Now, I haven't had anyone share their opinion, other than a few people, about how they feel about Rifter. How they've said it's really good. You know, I've had a few people say that the modeling's good, it looks really cool, it's got a theme. But no real criticism. So I criticise myself. I do it myself. I don't actually need an exterior opinion because I'm criticising myself all the time and saying, no, that doesn't look good. I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing it for a learning experience. I'm doing it because I want to make games for a living. So that's the 4th or 5th developer log. I hope you enjoyed. I'm Luke, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you next time.